objective for today, I can summarize data and compute the measures of central tendency. Let's read together. 1, 2, 3. I can summarize data and compute the measures of central tendency. So today's focus would be measures of central tendency. Bless you. Here we go. So what are measures of central tendency? Well, measures of central tendency are commonly used measures of center for a set of numerical data that represent a central or typical value of a set of data. Bless you. Once again, measures of central tendency are commonly used measures of center for a set of numerical data that represent a central or typical value of a data set. Copy that. All right, here we go. So let me break down the definition first so that we understand what each piece means. So it says here, commonly used measures of center. That's the first part. So pay attention to this. Commonly used is something that makes sense just by reading it, right? That means something that we use the most. Measures means a type of instrument or formula that we use the most. So a commonly used formula or instrument, okay? And what do we measure? Of center. Center meaning the focus of. Center meaning what? The focus of. The focus of what? It says here, a set of numerical data. So if I give you a lot of data, then we're going to focus in the center of that data. How do we focus in the center? By measuring with some measures that are called what? Measures of central tendency. Now, what are those good for? Because they help us represent the data that is most typical for the entire set. So, for example, let's say Mr. Z picked in and he said, Mr. Q, that there's going to be a quick competition in the gym, and we need a representative from each, 2 representatives from each class for 8th grade, and they need to be good at these 4 things: language arts, science, math, and basketball. So right away, you guys need to figure out a way of choosing 2 people from this class to represent the class. So what would be one way of choosing someone? What do you guys think? Just picking anybody? Randomly, say, let's see, whomever. No. So what would be one thing that we would look for? What is it? Great. So that would be one measure of central tendency. Okay. What would be another thing that we would look at? What's that? Athletic? Another measure of central tendency. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? Those are the measures to send someone out to represent us. Everybody with me? Same thing with these. The measures of central tendency are something in that same idea, but now using numbers and formulas. Ready? All right, so check this out. Write your utensils down, look up to the screen. You'll finish copying a little bit. So let me give you first data. Everybody see the data right here? Okay, these are not the measures of central tendency. Tell your neighbor what I just said. Okay, so what are the measures of central tendency is what is it that's going to represent this data? What is it that would represent it? The first thing that would represent this data is taking the average of the data. Has anybody taken the average before? Yes? How do we take the average? We add all the numbers and divide by how many numbers we have. How many numbers do we have here? 5. So that's what we call average, or in other words, it's called the mean. The mean. The mean is found by adding all the numbers, here they are, and divide by 5. So it's 430 divided by 5, so the mean is 86, or in other words, the average. That's one of the what? Measures of central tendency. What is it called? And the first one is the average or the mean. Everybody understand what I mean? Copy that, please. All right, so that's the first measure of central tendency, the average, also known as the mean. The second measure, write your utensils down, look up to the screen. The second measure is known as the median. The median comes from the root word medium or middle. So by looking at the data, what number is right smack in the middle? That is our median. Copy that, please. Now, mind you, this will all only work, finding the median, if it's a range from least to greatest. Okay, now that we got that, look up, please. Now, right now it was easy to find because how many numbers did we have? 5 of them. That means there's 2 on this side, 2 on this side. In the middle, we have 1. That's going to work always when we have odd number of numbers. But what if we have an even number of numbers, for example? All right, let me go to the middle. The middle is right here. There's nothing there, Mr. Q. Well, we take the 2 numbers closest to the middle. We add them and divide by 2. This is 180 divided by 2. The median would be 90. Copy that so you can have it as an example, please. So that's when we have how many? An even number of numbers, okay? All right. So far, how many measures of central tendency do we have? 2, the mean and the median. The last one, I'm going to do that in blue. The last one is the mode. Mode. Now, mode comes from a root word or Latin word that we know as moda. Moda or mode means fashion, trend, or something that's seen more often. For example, not too long ago, there came a movie like this. Okay. The Hunger Games. And then all of a sudden, people started wearing their shirts for Hunger Games. They had like the book dividers for Hunger Games. They had like you know, whatever. They had the little bird pin and all this and that, stickers. Well, guess what was in fashion or what was the mode? Hunger Games. Everybody was wearing that. They were taking pictures at the theater and the posters, selfies, Hunger Games, right? So that's what was trending. That's what people saw most often. By looking at that data, tell them what the mode is. That is correct. The mode is 75 because that's what's happening the most often. Does that make sense? However, from time to time, I remember sometime back, I think around the same time as Hunger Games, one of the movies came out, but on the following weekend, another movie came out about werewolves and vampires and stuff. So then all of a sudden, people were wearing the bird shirt, and some other people were wearing the vampire and werewolf shirt. And you would see, I would bump into students at Wally World and be like, "Hey, Mr. Q," and hey, and they were wearing the Twilight shirt, and somebody else the Hunger Games shirt. So guess what was in fashion during those days? Those 2 movies, right? Well, guess what? With data, the same thing. Look up. Let's say this number staying, instead of being 120, I switch that to 100. What would be the mode now? 75 and 100. So there could be a bimodal, triple modal, whatever you want to call it, but as long as they repeat the same amount of times. Does that make sense? However, look up please. There are situations that you're going to see something like this. Look at the data, tell your neighbor what would be the mode. There is no mode. You can't say 0 because 0 is the number. You have to say what? No mode. Everybody understand? All right. So, any questions with the 3 measure central tendency? Okay. So, non-example. What would be a non-example from here that would be that I can write over here?
2 + 2.
Very good. The data. 75, 75, 85, 95, and 100. That is not the measure of central tendency. That's just data. Another one that in the past, some of you got confused, or maybe they didn't describe it for you. Who's heard of the range? Okay, in the past, some of you thought that that was part of the measure of central tendency. That is not. It's another way of measuring stuff, but it's not part of the measure of central tendency. We are going to use that, but for right now, we're going to leave it as a non-example, range. Look at the data and look at the example for the range. Tell your neighbor how to find the range of any data, please. Fatima? Subtract the lowest number from the biggest number. Everybody got it? Yeah? Okay. So, hashtag that. See what you can take a picture and send it out. Or snap it to people, whatever. What do you guys do now? Snap? Instagram? What? No. Yeah? So you're over here like, oh, let me send you a picture of tonight's home plate. Julian, yes? Okay. I don't know. Hashtag, give me a hashtag, please, Devin. Go. Median. Okay. Jason. Wow. Don't say it. Isaac. Wow, how creative, everyone. Ryan, another one. Data set. Okay, yeah, you need that. It's not part of the measure central tendency, but yeah, you do need it. How about triple M? Mean, median, and mode. Hashtag no range. And we'll stop right there. No range. Okay, turn your paper over. Example 1A. 1A. Okay, example 1A. Find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data set. 478, 21242. Question now? Oh. What? Oh. All right. So let's get started. I got this. So, my first step. Once I'm given the data like this, my first step is as follows. Describe to your neighbor what I just did and tell them what would you write for step 1 of your process. All right, let's see. Hunter, go. Write the data from least to greatest. That would be step one of your process. You write that in the front underneath your Frayer model. Step two. Okay, so I'm about to get started doing this. Tiny neighbor, what would we call step two? Step two. Not fine, because I would say they're right there. I wasn't, I'm not laughing. It's right there. Okay, what would he write for step two, Mel? Identify the three M's. Or, what's another word that we use on the objective? On the objective? Compute the measures of central tendency. That is correct. That's step two. Damn, Pablo. Compute the measures of central tendency. All right, help me with the mean. What do I do for the mean? Luca. Add them and divide by 8. That is correct, because there's 8 numbers. So this is 30 divided by 8, which is 3.75. Nice. Pass someone? Fatima, how do we find the median? That is correct. Pass someone? Tell us first how to find it. Find the number that repeats the most, therefore the mode is? That is correct. So that was step 2. Step 3. Ready? Step 3. Tell your neighbor, what would you write for step 3? Everyone, compute the range. That is correct. Now, why did I do the range separately? Because the range is not part of what? The measures of central tendency. Yes. All right. So, Marissa, how do we find the range? Subtract the greatest number and then the least, and that's how we get 7. And if you got that, that is correct. Questions, comments, autographs? No? We good? Good. Damn. Yeah, later. All right. Go to, let's crank it up a notch, yeah? Okay. Copy this. Example 2A. It says, 6 members of the cross-country team ran certain miles in a week. Find the measure of central tendency. Which measure best describes this data, and justify your answer. The data for the miles that they ran for the week are 6, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5. copy that and answer the questions and find the measures. Ready, go. All right, check with the neighbor, see what they got for problem number 2A. Okay, let's see. Get us started, please, Devin. What'd you find, or what'd you get first? Least to greatest, so it was 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. All right, pass someone. What'd you do next? Okay. Help him out, Haley Ann. Divided by what? And that gave us? Hands if you got that. That is correct. Pass someone. Pass someone.
So the more you have to see which numbers are seen the most, number 4 and 5.
4 and 5 are seen the most. Hands if you got that. That is correct. Pass someone. Julian. Range.
6 minus
3. Hands if you got that. That is incorrect. This would be -1. Tell your neighbor why. What are they asking us to find? Is this one part of the measures? Next, which measure best describes the data? Pop. Mode 4 and 5. Justify your answer. Luca? All right, so let's look at the information. 6 members are running miles a week. So think about it. If I asked you guys to run the miles in weeks, what data would be most important for me? The mode or the mean? The one that you guys ran the most or the average of the whole thing? So let's think about grades. What would be most important for me? The one that I see the most or the average per class? I think both. But in this case, I would go with, I'll take both. Why? Because that tells me that most of you are running the mile in what? Are running how many? 4 or 5 miles a week. So that means this one's an extreme and this one's an extreme. Does that make sense? Or an average would be what? 4.5, which would be in between what? 4 and 5. Either one. So your home play for tonight is a play sheet. Come pick it up on your way out. There is tutoring. If I don't see you guys tomorrow. Bye.